So I hope you are enjoying your case experience that you got from one of your independents. And now we are just about to chill out, and I'm sure you are sitting very comfortable in your sofa, enjoying some nibbles or even with dinner, who knows. I finished my work day and I'm just about to chill out with this glass of wine together with you and let you know a little bit more about it. So here we are trying a Chardonnay Muscat from Valencia in Spain. And the producer, we decided to put it in the Orgasmic Organic because it's organic wine and because it's like really interesting project behind the environmental friendly side of it. So it's a family business. It's not too big. They started a few years ago in Valencia, in quite a high area or high point in Valencia, above 500 meters sea level for the white grape varieties, which for this area is very good. Otherwise, it tends to be really, really hot there. So they managed to get the freshness on their wines, and especially this one I think is very evident. This wine is a very unique blend. So you have two grapes that are very different. I find them almost like opposites, but like people say, opposites attract each other. So we have the Chardonnay, and then we have the side of the Muscat grape, or Muscatel in Spain saying. So those two grapes, of course, that you kind of think like, ooh, not sure about Chardonnay, but Muscatel is kind of flowery. And I think is where I found the really interesting side of this wine. You have lovely first when you smell it, is like all these flowers, the orange blossom coming through, the flowers coming through, but not very aggressive, in a very gentle way. Then you have on your palate, and you have it also in the nose, a little bit of more complex aromatics. This provided by the Chardonnay, and the structure, the body, you get it a lot from the Chardonnay grape, but it's so fascinating to see how does these grapes, two being so opposites, are so different, and they don't compete with each other. So this is a clever way of the winemaker, and you will meet him in a little bit. And I think it's a wine that it's great with foods, like think about white sauces, spicy food, maybe Thai food and flavors with this kind of freshness, but a little bit of a spice, a chili side on it. I think it's great matching. Anyway, it's I also wanted to explain that the Chardonnay, funny enough, it has a little bit more quantity of Chardonnay on the blend than the Muscat, but you don't feel it on your mouth because they are so well balanced. The Chardonnay grapes, they are pick up when they are a bit like more mature. So it's richer, they are more rounded, they have more sugar levels, concentration, much richer in flavor, let's say. And then the Muscat grape, it's the opposite. So they decide at Neleman's to pick up the grapes when they are very young, very fresh, very unripe, very low sugars, high acidity, to keep the freshness and to keep, yes, the little bit more of the tropical notes and the flower smoothness, elegant side, but this will lift up. So those two, they will work, I think, really well in your palate, I hope. And I hope that I show you something very unique, organic, vegan, the most environmental friendly winemaker that I work with, and a fascinating project. So if you do social medias and so on, just have a look, that is worth to see. But now meet the winemaker in Maria and see a beautiful sunny day that is in Spain, but I'm enjoying with my jumper, and that's it for now in the UK with you. So cheers.
So my name is Diego. I'm head winemaker of Neleman. And we're just tasting this organic Chardonnay Muscat 2019. It was a warm harvest. We had the blessing of some rain at the end of the season, which which smoothened the fruit and kept its freshness and the zesty flavors. And it's pretty. I mean, it's a wine that's full of flowers that come from the Muscat mainly, and then the mouthfeel, the shot that lingers in your mouth. Then you have in the mouth both personalities: the flowers, the floral side from the Muscat, plus the mouthfeel from the Chardonnay, and it's super pleasant, super enjoyable.
A little bit about why the wine is organic, vegan.
And we believe that our duty and our job is to make pretty wines on a sustainable way. So there's no other way for us than to work organic. It means that we keep the environment and we even improve the environment by the way we grow our vineyards. And we do enjoy organic and we do enjoy vegan, and that's why we also do not involve any animal compounds or processes whatsoever in the making of our wines.
We get healthy grapes without spraying by growing flowers in our vineyard. So flowers, they attract wasps, little tiny wasps, whose larvae, whose sons, will feed on the insects that are harmful for the vineyard. Insects are funny. Adult wasps do not feed on the insects that harm the vineyard, are just their babies. So we grow the flowers for the adults, enhancing the babies to feed on the pests we may have. So it's a perfectly natural and balanced way of controlling the possible insects that may harm our grapes. And it's pretty. There's another way we have to help the vineyard grow without pressure from insects and without obviously spraying any chemicals on the vineyard. So this is a very funny wire because it's made of female moth smell. So the smell of a female moth is not something you want to smell. It stinks actually. But this very stinky wire, when we place it on the vineyard, what it does, it fills the vineyard with female moth smell. So when the male moth comes searching for the female in order to mate and have children, he will never actually find the female. So he will not mate, they will have no children, and that means there will be no worms in our vineyard that may harm our grapes. So this is a perfect organic way of helping our little tiny grapes that you see here to grow completely healthy and tasty without spraying, without using any chemical compound that will go into the wine.
So yes, these are the old bush vines we grow in Neleman. And what does bush vine mean? It means that the shape of the canopy is like an umbrella that's keeping the grapes, the fruit, inside the umbrella. So the fruit is protected from direct sun exposure. We want this protection because we want aromas to be kept in the berries. And if grapes are directly exposed to the heat, to the sun, the aromas, they just disappear. They fly up into the atmosphere and they're gone forever. Yes, so this autumn has been particularly rainy here in Valencia. Here in Casas del Rey, because we're up in the mountains, we haven't had that much rain. So that means that today grapes are crunchy, they're pretty, but they're still stiff. So they're full of flavor and just ready to be harvested. In fact, we started harvesting yesterday, Monday, and this plot will be the last to harvest. And if you see, we can get an approach to the berry. So you see that the seeds are starting to be ripe and that the color is already going from the skin into the must. And yes, this is telling you that grapes are ready for harvesting. It'll be a lovely red wine.
Diego,
Yes.
can you tell us about the Dino?
About the Dino. Well, as you can see behind us, at the top of the mountains, we're about 950 meters above sea level. So this means that very ancient soils came from down beneath and were pushed by the continents while they moved. And ancient soil was risen from the bottom to the top. So in fact, we're standing on soils that are between 150 and 200 million years old.
Wow.
So this means they come from the Jurassic times. And well, you know, you've all seen the movie Jurassic Park. So dinosaurs were walking 200 million years ago on these very same soils where we're growing our bobal.
So today is March the 9th and we just planted 10 days ago the 2020 trees that will compensate or offset all our carbon footprint. So this is a public ground that belongs to the town hall. So, and what we do, we calculate our CO2 emissions, okay? And then we calculate the amount of trees we need to plant every year to offset all those, so to make it neutral. And every year we plant on public grounds in the natural park the amount of trees needed to trap the CO2 we are releasing by doing our agriculture and winemaking.
Yeah, and a question that a lot of people have, how do you calculate how many trees for a bottle? Or
we take into account the amount of CO2 released by actually making the glass bottle, which is the biggest amount. Then the second biggest amount is the amount of diesel that needs to be burned to send a bottle from Casas del Rey Valencia to the Netherlands or to other country. So all that is calculated, is taken into account, and then is compensated by these baby trees that were planted just 10 days ago.
and why this kind of tree?
Because they are the natural trees that go here and that can develop here. All this planting is guided by the natural park. So we plant the species that the natural park wants us to plant. Yeah.